photograph answers that question. Well, let's get back to my question. Where's my mausoleum? I mean, look at the Hartwell Museum, the mausoleum. It was built in 1913 and it's still standing. Now, I don't want to say anything bad about my son, but if you look at this photograph, the stones are cracked. The door has a severe crack in it. And see how small the retaining wall and the foundation look? Well, perhaps Horace didn't consider that this hill, despite its modest effort to create a flat foundation, would eventually return to its natural sloped contour. My oil well, my mausoleum was built 10 years before they built those oil wells. Now surely Horace had time to consider the damage that would come with the building of the derricks, not to mention the extraction of the oil. But even more perplexing than my son's clear disregard for my eternal safety was the lack of any newspaper accounts regarding the demise of my mausoleum. Where was the press telegram? Where was the LA Times? How was the removal of my Egyptian-themed mausoleum, how did that attract absolutely no press attention? How? And where were the preservations, right? I mean, they work hard to save buildings. Why didn't they save mine? How could they let my architecturally unique mausoleum, built by clearly the city's most famous architect, just simply disappear? How? I mean, I'm asking how.
Good night. That's somewhat of an irony, because my last night on this earth was anything but good. You see, on July, right here, on July 5th in 1906, I was burned to death. It was over in Wilmington, where I lived with my husband and our son Ed. It was a night just like almost any other. We went to bed. We sort of had separate sleeping areas because Mr. Goodnight said I snored. Well, I knew that man snored like a freight train coming through. But that night, sometime between 12 and 1 o'clock, it wasn't snoring that woke up Mr. Goodnight. It was the flames of the fire right there in the building, and Mr. Goodnight jumped up out of bed and he ran over, he shook me. Louise Adelaide, wake up. Woke me up, he got my son and dragged us out in front of the burning building. And there we stood. We were safe. Except for the excitement and the worry about the burning building, we were safe. See, I remembered something. I don't know how I could forget it. Maybe it was the fire. But I had my money. You know, my money, my hidden money. It was still in the building. I forgot it, and it was over $155. And so I did the only sensible thing I could think of at that time. I rushed back to the door of that burning building. Mr. Goodnight, he had no idea of why I'd go back. So here he is behind me, the dragon trying to pull me away. Adelaide Louise, he called out, because sometimes got me mixed up. He tried to grab me away from the door I was going through. Only trouble was, he stumbled. And when he stumbled, he fell forward. Fell forward right into that door and it slammed shut. It was locked. There I was. The door is locked. The flames are getting higher. I cannot get out.
To look to the future rather than the past.
We were soon married and had a daughter of our own. We named her Pauline after Alberto's mother. We heard about opportunities in Southern California And Alberto remembered visiting San Pedro during his naval cruises. The weather there never got cold like it did in New York.
And it never got as hot as it did in the tropics. So I decided to take a job in the growing seaside town of Long Beach.
So we moved west to Long Beach. It was absolutely the right decision. It was a wonderful place to raise our girls.
And in 1908, I took a job as a draftsman for the city of Long Beach.
Alberto then decided to become an assistant city engineer. I was so proud of him, and he was responsible for many important projects.
I was assigned to building the city's ports, as I'd experience in maritime projects.
Eventually, he became lead city engineer. Now, not only was he responsible for the ports, but for all engineering projects in the city as well.
My department supervised the infrastructure of a growing town, including extending the sewers beyond the original core of downtown.
The school paid for my lodging, and I stayed with the Ayers family. Well, that Thanksgiving was my very first Thanksgiving away from home. And Mrs. Ayers knew that Charlotte would be celebrating Thanksgiving alone. And Mrs. Ayers was something of a match for me. So she invited them, and guess what? It worked. Charlie and I liked each other immediately. As a matter of fact, he said he fell in love with me that very day. So we saw as much of each other as possible, and in 1894 he proposed. And so, with Charlie in Springville and me in Long Beach, so began a very long and very romantic correspondence. Each week, Mother and I would drive down in the buggy to the post office. Each week, there would be a letter from her sweetheart. And then one week, no letter. I was crushed. Had Charlie decided to break off our engagement, or had he found another girl? So these thoughts were swirling around in my head as we drove the buggy back down Pine Avenue and turned on 3rd Street. All of a sudden in the distance, I thought I saw a familiar figure. It was Charlie, crossing the street to our house. Oh, my heart leapt with relief and joy. In future years, when people would say to Charlie, "So, what brought you to Long Beach?" he would say, "Well, it wasn't for the climate." Charlie came to Long Beach because of me. We were married and my parents lived here in 1895. Now, Charlie's family moved to Springville when he was a young boy. He went to grammar school and then also took a few business classes in college. So it's no surprise that after we were married, Charlie and I opened up a new business, C.J. Walker and Company Real Estate. We also had a very early investment in what would become Buffum's department store. It was a small beginning in a small city located on a large ocean in a large state with very large opportunities. Now, our daughter Alice was born in 1896, and our son Gustavus, or Gus, as we all called him, was born in 1899. Charlie was a wonderful father. And the next year, after Gus was born, he was elected mayor of the city of Long Beach.
Started hiring folks that they wouldn't hire before. My sister's husband got a job down at the shipyard that used to be completely segregated. I got a job as a janitor at the public library for the city of Long Beach. I worked there for a long time. Now my life, like I said, wasn't that exciting. Well, I had one exciting event. While I was still working at Howden Park, one day I get to work and the clubhouse is on fire. Now it was an electrical fire and the clubhouse eventually got repaired. Oh, and while I was there, I heard these different stories. Well, I read one in the paper about the Negro League. My friend Ernie McBride, he played and he also managed this team called the Negro Giants. And they played over in Houghton Park. What is it? Thousands of people would come to these games. They played white teams, Japanese teams. And according to Ernie, the Giants always won, except for when they played that team from Pasadena with this guy named Jackie Robinson on it. Well, my friend Ernie, he went on to do some big things in Long Beach. He started the NAACP branch here in Long Beach, and he also has a park and a new high school named after him. So he's done some good stuff. Now, my life was pretty good living at the Southern Palms. I pretty much ran the place. Took care of everyone that came in and out. And we all got to know each other because you imagine we couldn't live in any other area, so we were all with each other and attended church together and got to know each other. Now, there was at one point in time, there was a sewing project called well, that sewing project was at Christ Second Baptist Church. My sisters were there too. But life was good. I did okay. I got a retirement from the city, and I also had contributed to Social Security. So it felt really good after a long work life to be able to just not to go to work anymore. I can't think of too many other exciting things to tell you about my life. But it was a good life, I can tell you that. But I appreciate all of y'all coming out today and hearing my story and supporting the Long Beach Historical Society. You know, they have a habit of just digging people up. So they dug me up this year, did a little research to find out about my life. And I'm really glad that they did. So that now I have the opportunity to share this story with you where you might not have ever heard about me. So thank you for coming out, hearing my story, and supporting the Long Beach Historical Society.